All right, folks, welcome to another episode of Ethos Warrior presented by the Warrior Leader Academy. Today, my special guest is Dr. Jenna Morgiello. Jenna, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Jenna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I found athletic training through an injury. I was lucky to have mentors and people who inspired me to go that route because originally I wanted to be a writer. It's really funny how life has other plans for us. I went to Westchester University for my undergrad and then Georgia Southern for my master's and the University of Idaho for my doctorate. My doctorate really is in holistic patient-centered care, and it really taught me the benefit of looking at the person holistically through more of an energetic lens and a holistic lens of what's going on in their life and not only their body. So that's where I found athletic training and this alternate and traditional approach to healing the body and the mind and the spirit.
You have the role of the director of mind and body for Warrior Leader. So what are you doing in that role?
I'm super excited to be working with everyone at Warrior Leader and Paige McHenry as well, who you interviewed last time. And we are really excited just to bring in this different approach to healing, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, all of that plays a role in the healing process. As athletic trainers, we work with patients every single day, and we see the common theme of they're getting better, but they're not maintaining that. Or maybe they've seen 5 specialists and they still can't get better. And there's something that's happening that maybe we can't see, but it's happening and it's not allowing the person to reset. And so we've become really invested in this and what the missing link is to the healing process. So we're going to work to make different programs for you. Some are free, some are paid courses, giving you access to these tools to hopefully help you live a better life and heal whatever it is that you want to heal.
Different classes, different setups, different solutions for different problems. My back went out. I've gone to you. You've helped me with it. So what are some things that aren't really commonly used practices to help someone heal a recurring injury?
That's a great question. So typically what it looks like, and I'm sure whoever's listening to this, and maybe even you can relate, you have an injury and you go to a healthcare provider, whether that's a physician, athletic trainer, physical therapist, chiropractor, whoever it is, doesn't matter. And most people are going to look at the injury that you come in with. So you come in for your back, we look at your back. But usually that's where it stops. Maybe you get to someone who looks above and below that joint. That's even better. But we really want people to look at you holistically. We want to take a global approach and a specific approach. We don't want to just be zoomed in on the injury because you're going to miss everything. Someone could walk in and they could have a knee problem or a back problem. That might be 5-10% of their actual problem. If we only focus on that 5-10%, we're going to miss everything else. And if we fix that other stuff that we might not realize, they would actually get better right then and there and it would maintain. But because we're so laser focused on the chief complaint, we miss it.
When I met you, I'd thrown my back out, couldn't even bend over, touch my knees, super painful. And I remember you did some stuff with karate chopping on my legs. What is that technique and what is that useful for?
That's one of my favorite techniques from the University of Idaho where I learned it in my doctorate. It's called primal reflex release technique. And that's something that I've been trained in. It's basically using your body to reset itself. So if you think about a computer, if it's not working or it's frozen, we usually do a hard reboot. We turn it off, we turn it back on. It kind of resets the system. It's the same thing from a neurological perspective is you get in the pain spasm cycle and we want to just shut everything down, reboot it, and get everything working and firing appropriately. And if that doesn't happen, you stay in the cycle. And that's why a lot of times when people have all these different techniques done to them, whether it's Graston cupping or any sort of painful therapy, you get stuck even more sometimes because you're creating more pain when the body wants safety and it wants to be down regulated instead of up regulated.
One thing I talked to Paige about was stretching. I'm always trying to really forcefully stretch, reach those toes. And I remember you talked to me, you said, that's probably not the best thing. Try to go to your happy place. Why should I be at my happy place when I'm trying to stretch myself out?
So there's a lot of stuff out there on this. And basically, there's 2 ways that you can go when you have an injury or pain or dysfunction. You can go into ease or you can go into resistance. Stretching is going into resistance. So some people have the school of thought of go into resistance and that will release, and other people say go into ease. I think if you take someone, especially in your case, where maybe that position wasn't a safe position for you to be in, or there's something that your body didn't like about that position, but it wasn't that you had tissue damage per se. So if we alter the neurological system by saying, hey, go to your happy place, that's going to flood your body with happy chemicals, brings relaxation, creates internal safety, which then allows you to move better. And that could have been with any motor pattern, right? It could have been a squat. It could have been performance-based. We teach this all the time. And you create that internal safety, and that's going to really allow your nervous system to thrive. And when you thrive, people around you thrive. So it's really like this big win-win that happens all around, because people are going to be in your neurological state when you're around them. Right? We can feel when someone's not in a good mood, or we can feel these things, and we know that even though we can't see them, they're not physically tangible.
That's really that mind-body connection, that flow state from what you're thinking to what you're doing to who you are to really being in tune.
Exactly. That's exactly it.
Maybe I have a sore back. Maybe I have a sore knee. Are there other ways that you can help me? Maybe I'm not injured, but I still need some help in that connection. Is there any other ways you could help me out?
Yes, absolutely. Eventually, we do plan to have online live sessions with whoever is interested. It's amazing what you can do even just on a virtual platform, because energy transcends space and time. So I don't need to actually be physically touching your knee to have this exact idea of what's wrong or what's going on. And a lot of times creating that safety in the nervous system is all you might need. And that can be done through this platform, through a conversation, through just getting down to the root cause of it, not just looking at the knee. Having that discussion about what life is like, what's going on, and all of those other things could definitely help.
You can help me with my mind. You can help me with my body. You've got some nutritional aspect. You've got some workout aspects. You have the ability to help create a tailored package uniquely to my needs, is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. And bonus points if nothing else has worked, because that tells me that no one has looked beyond what you're coming in for. By the time people see me, they've usually tried everything. They've gone to the doctor, they've gone to the physical therapist, they've gone to everyone they can think of, but there's just this one piece missing, is usually how that goes. But I think that there's a lot of people out there, and hopefully those people are seeing this video now, that they feel almost like there's nothing left and there's no hope, and they've tried it all, and this is just my life now, and now I have to live this way. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. And there's always something that's going to work for someone. So definitely come see us.
You're telling me I can get to a point where I'm not waking up and just taking a leave and et cetera and make it through the day. I'm not popping ibuprofen all the time.
Absolutely. I believe that wholeheartedly. And I think that's the difference. I truly believe in that. And you have another person who doesn't truly believe in that. That's going to affect what goes on between the clinician and the patient. So it's really important that we have that rapport and we have that connection. And even if you don't believe it, I wholeheartedly believe it. So that's going to be enough momentum to carry us through and at least try.
No harm in trying. Right?
Exactly.
You guys created a 7-day guide. What is that about?
We created the 7-day journal because we wanted to give everyone something to see where they're at and see where they want to go. So it's a very basic introductory 7-day guide where you can create stillness, slight meditation, mindfulness in different ways though. So maybe it's like Paige mentioned, drinking coffee slowly and really feeling the texture and the taste, feeling the heat, maybe going on a mindful walk and things like that, where you can really just get in tune to your mind-body connection and where you're at. And this is just a snapshot in time. So it has nothing to do with judgment. We're just getting a feel for where you're at. And you can always share what you found with us, which we'd love to hear about. And then we can always go from there with whatever your goals are or whatever you want to accomplish. So it's really an introductory 7-day materials that you can use, and anyone can use it, even if you're advanced. Sometimes it's nice to just go back to the fundamentals, but we wanted to really lay a foundation for anyone who's interested in the program.
One thing I'd like to touch on real quick is habits. Things that are done routinely become habits. So what are some habits in your day to really help you become more in tune with yourself and those things around you?
I think a big thing that we miss out on in life, we need to practice listening to our intuitions. And for me, I create moments of stillness in my day, whether that's when I first wake up or before going to bed or anywhere in between. Usually whenever I eat lunch, that's a nice mindful moment for me. And I try to remember when I walk into a room that not all of that energy, or if you want to call it baggage, is mine. Like I might feel it, but that doesn't mean I need to absorb it. Making sure that we're keeping, if you want to call it energetic hygiene, keeping our stuff and their stuff. And when you walk through life like that, you can meet people with more love and gratitude than if you were picking up on all these different things, because that really does get lodged in the body, because the body does keep score of everything you think, everything you feel, everything in your environment. So it's really important to be mindful of not only when you're creating that moment of stillness for you, but also how much of your environment are you now absorbing and what is that doing to your cells?
You are definitely a product of your environment, whether it's what you're eating, what you're listening to, who you're talking to, working out. What would you say for someone who's maybe in an environment where they don't have much control over those factors? Maybe they're in a bad relationship, maybe they're in a bad work environment. What are some things that they could immediately kind of start implementing to help them kind of work through that?
I think the biggest thing is understanding what you have control over. You have control over you, and you also have control over moving yourself. You're not a tree, you're not stuck. We can always move at any time, even if our ego or whatever feels like we can't, right? We are mobile beings. And so I think the biggest thing would be cultivating that awareness of what it is in the environment or what the person's picking up on. So step one would be cultivating awareness and practicing that enough to know what it is that's happening. And then the second step, I think, would be to either reach out to someone, whether it's us or not, whatever you feel called to do, and really work through those things from whatever standpoint you want to. I know for us, being able to clear ourselves, that's really, really important. And every time I teach a lecture, I start with a clearing because it's so much easier for everyone to be clear in a room than not to be. We can just focus more and everyone's engaged, less tired. And so clearing yourself from that will help you see the environment differently. And you might see something you didn't expect. It might be, oh, maybe my coworker, isn't actually this, or maybe my environment really isn't that bad. And you might have missed that because you had your viewpoint of everything's crappy or whatever you want to call that. You're viewing things through a lens that isn't good. I don't like the word good, but you know what I mean? Like it's tainted in some way from your past experience or whatever. I try not to use good or bad. I think that's how I would start with that, is just knowing that you might see something different when you start to get still within yourself.
Give me an example of what clearing would look like.
So there's a million different ways that you can kind of clear out your mind. One example is breath work that is timed or box breathing. I know that's really big, where you're inhaling, pausing, exhaling. That's one way. You can also think of it as all the things that are cluttering your mind, getting rid of those, like intentionally getting rid of those, feeling yourself let go. You can do progressive relaxation where you're contracting muscles really hard, then letting them go, feeling the tension release from your body. There's a million ways you can do it, and everyone's different. So something that works for me might not necessarily work for you, but there's always something that we can do to kind of clear out the system, create safety in the body, and then live our lives through that lens.
In this day and age, we're moving a mile a minute. We have no time for ourselves. We have no time to think. What would be a good way for someone to focus on the moment, clear the distractions? How long should they be in it? Is this something I have to do for an hour, or is this something I can do in a matter of moments?
It's funny you asked that. I was leading these 3-minute meditations and I had someone say to me, why can't we do it for 10 minutes? I don't really feel anything for 2 minutes. And I said, you must meditate a lot. And he said, yes, every day for 30 minutes. I'm like, well, that's why 2 minutes isn't enough. It's kind of like when you're training to run a marathon. If you're going from the couch to the 5K, a minute of running is really, really hard. But if you've been training, that's easy. And so it really depends on where you're at in your journey. I think if you've never meditated before, never done anything that involves a mindfulness component, intentional presence, just starting with 2 minutes a day, right? From Atomic Habits, the book, 2 minutes a day for any new habit. And then once you get that momentum, you build upon that. And if you're someone who's already doing this stuff, you could start at 10 minutes, you could start at 20 minutes, whatever it is to get you in that sweet spot. I really think it's more about what you're doing in that time frame, the intentional presence, more so than how long you're doing it. We want quality, not quantity. That's what I would recommend for anyone who's beginning.
I'm a big fan of mantras. Do you have a mantra that you might use in a stressful time, or maybe when stuff starts getting hard? Is there something you tell yourself to make it through?
Wow. There's a couple that I like to use. And when it comes to pain in the body, I like to ask myself, what is this trying to show me? Because we don't ever have pain without a reason. Our bodies are really good at self-regulating and self-healing. So if you have any sort of pain in your life, there's a reason, and there's likely something that you're missing, whether that's a metaphorical lesson or maybe it's a physical lesson. Maybe your body really doesn't like a certain position right now. And it's honoring and respecting what the message is. What do I have to learn? What boundaries do I need to honor with myself? Where can I show myself that compassion? And ultimately, that one question, that one mantra of what can I learn or what is this trying to show me can lead you down a really good space because you're coming at it from a place of curiosity instead of judgment. Instead of why is this happening to me? It's what is this trying to show me? Why is this happening for me instead of to me? I think that paradigm shift is super, super helpful.
Framing your perspective, just a small tweak in the wording, 1 or 2 words, or taking it from a slightly different angle can do wonders. Jenna, is there anything else you would like the listeners to know before we sign off?
I would just say that we are really excited to work with anyone who is ready and willing to try to improve their life, whether it's mind, body, or not. We're just excited to work with you. And if there's any questions you all have, or if you ever need anything, please reach out. We're super excited. This is what we love to do. So you're never a bother. We've seen a lot of awesome results. I would say give it a try, especially if you've tried everything, then this is definitely something I highly recommend is for you.
For those that are listening, you can go to warrior-leader.com, find all the information. If you want to send a message out to the Mind team, you can send that to mind at warrior-leader.com. And we will get back to you as soon as we can. Look forward to working with you. Jenna, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited.
I'm so excited. So as always, stay hungry, stay true.